Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make a Swedish cardamom cake, or Kardemummakaka as it's known in Sweden, with my bad pronunciation I'm sure. It's actually quite a simple cake to make, and it's just a single layer, and it's flavoured obviously with cardamom. So I start off by preheating my oven to 180 degrees Celsius, that's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit, and I have greased and lined a 9-inch round cake tin. Now, in Sweden, they often grease their pan and then cover the grease with breadcrumbs, rather like you might grease and flour a pan, and that's how they do it. But I prefer to line my pans with baking parchment, so that's what I've done. So that's the cake pan. Now you could, if you wanted to, use an 8-inch square cake pan. So a 9-inch round is 23 centimetres, an 8-inch square would be 20 centimetres, and that would work just as well as the 9-inch round one. So I'll go on to the ingredients, and for this I have 310 grams, which is 2 cups plus 1 tablespoon of plain flour, and that's based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup. I have 150 grams, 3/4 of a cup of caster sugar, and I'm using golden caster sugar, but granulated sugar would be fine as well if that's what you have. I have 12 grams, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 295 grams, 1 cup plus 5 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. So I have melted my butter and then I have weighed it out to 295 grams. I have 7 grams, 3 teaspoons of ground cardamom, and that's the seeds from inside the cardamom pod which have been extracted and ground down. You can do that yourself if you want to. I have 10 millilitres, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 3 grams, half a teaspoon of salt, 3 medium eggs, which would be large in the USA, and 170 millilitres, 3/4 of a cup minus 2 teaspoons of milk. And my butter is cooling down, so that's fine. So I'm going to go on to make the batter, and to do that we start by whisking our eggs and sugar together. But just before I whisk the eggs and the sugar together, I'm going to put my salt, the baking powder and the cardamom into my flour, and I'm just going to give that a stir around to get those mixed into the flour. That cardamom gives off such a lovely aroma. So that's fine like that. And to whisk the eggs and the sugar together and to make the batter, I'm going to use my Ankarsrum stand mixer, which is rather apposite since it was made in Sweden and we're doing a Swedish cake. So I'm going to put my eggs into the bowl. You can use any stand mixer, you could use a hand mixer, you can even do it all by hand, it's up to you. I put the sugar in as well, and then I'm going to whisk those until they're nice and thick and the sugar has completely dissolved. So with my eggs and sugar nicely mixed together, I'm going to pour in my milk and the vanilla extract and the butter, and I'm going to whisk those in. And with those whisked in, I'm going to put my flour in, and I'm going to mix that on a low speed just until it's just about combined, and then I'll finish it off probably with a spatula. And that's just about mixed through, so I'll finish that with a spatula. So I'm just mixing that, and I can see just a few small little lumps in there, which I'm trying to work out. I don't like over mixing flour, because if you over mix flour in a cake, it can sink while it's baking. So I think that's good enough, and I'm going to put that into my cake tin. And that's got most of that out. So then I'm going to spread that out over the surface. Just like that. And I'm going to put that into the oven, and I'm going to bake it for about 40 minutes, maybe even up to 50 minutes, but I bake it for long enough until I can poke a skewer into the centre of it, and that skewer comes out clean. At that point I'll take it out of the oven, and I'll leave it in the tin for 15 minutes or so before transferring it to a wire rack. And then once it's cooled down, I'll come back and show you the results. I baked my Swedish cardamom cake for 45 minutes. I tested it after 40 minutes, and there were just a few crumbs on the skewer, so I left it in for a further 5 minutes. Then I took it out of the oven and left it in the tin for 20 minutes before transferring it to a wire rack to cool. So it's now cooled down completely, and I've cut a slice, so I'll show you what it looks like. And it's baked up very nicely. I do have a slight crack on the top of mine, but that's fine. As you can see, this slice seems to have baked up quite nicely. So I'll have a taste of this. That does taste very, very good. The cardamom flavour comes through, obviously, Not overpowering, it just nicely flavours the cake. The texture is lovely and soft and feels quite light in the mouth. So I think this is a perfect little cake to enjoy with a cup of tea. It's also the sort of cake that I would like with a slice of that with a little bit of custard over the top as a dessert if I had some custard. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there'll be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.